AA meeting, so I really need it. All right, so this is my fiction piece. It's called Orientation, and it's really stupid. Okay, can you put up the first slide for me? No, just open the PowerPoint and put it up. I can click the next button just fine. I'm not a moron. Welcome, agents, to Orientation. Now, I'm sure many of you are wondering exactly what the DPS is, or perhaps why you've been selected from various government agencies in the dead of night and brought to this conference under an implied threat of violence. Often in these circumstances, it would be because you're the creme de la creme, or the cream of the crop, or the best in the biz, or the cock in the walk, or the bee's knees, or something. In your cases, it's because you're all mostly below average. Be it in solve rates, or physical aptitude, or mimetic recall, or maybe just run-of-the-mill, you're idiots. Now, don't be dismayed, because we are going to reward your unremarkability. Is that a word? No, I'm asking you, Elroy. Why would I be asking them? They're all gagged, you idiot. No, don't Google it. If I wanted it Googled, I would have done it myself. I just wanted to know if you knew off the top of... Never mind. You're here because you're garbage. But you'll get to keep your salaries and pensions if you work for us and don't ever tell anyone what we do here. All right, next slide. Okay, the DPS stands for... Why didn't the slide change? Yes, I clicked it. Of course I clicked it. Cram it with the smug expression, Elroy. Just change the goddamn slide for me. All right, the DPS stands for Department of Paranormal Security. Your primary function in this department is to prevent the paranormal creatures in our country from being detected by civilians. As it turns out, pretty much all that stupid crap is real. Vampires, ghosts, goblins, trolls, gremlins, werewolves, ghosts, dragons. What, Elroy? Well, who cares if I said ghost twice? I doubt any of them noticed. Quit interrupting me, all right? Okay. Now, the NSA wrote up an algorithm like 20 years ago that deletes all photography and videos of anything real that crops up on the internet, and the public usually does a great job with discrediting and marginalizing true believers that may have seen anything. So really our job is just kind of pest control. Next slide. All right, this is a vampire. Typically it stays inside all day playing Overwatch or Destiny 2. The way we can recognize them is that they will usually be in an inexplicable relationship with someone willing to support them who is also probably way hotter. We don't really have a hotness metric for it. Anyway, we usually leave them alone because no one really notices them, and talking to them is unpleasant. They always smell like Funyuns and Sprite, and they talk way too close. When they're young, they can be kind of dangerous because without a steady source of income to pay for their online subscriptions, they'll venture out into the world and get aggressive with potential partners because they only communicate with their own kind on a keyboard and don't really fully understand verbal social cues. They always think they know karate, too, so watch out for that. Next slide. Oh yes, ghosts. They're an odd one. It turns out that the only people that come back as ghosts are psychics, mediums, and ghost hunters. They show up at places they investigated when they were alive. The psychics and mediums aren't really a problem. They usually just kind of walk in circles, talking about how they feel a presence. The ghost hunters are dangerously obnoxious, on the other hand. When you have a ghost hunter haunting, 10 ghosts with cameras and flashlights keep turning off the lights in the civilian's home, will start shouting about EDF and trying to capture EVP, and just generally make asses of themselves and won't ever leave. It turns out, though, that we just have to send someone to sit with them all night and act really impressed by them, and they'll disappear by daybreak. I imagine you're wondering why only these people who made their livings talking to ghosts come back as ghosts. Stop it. Stop wondering. No one knows, and no, we're not researching it. We don't even research a gun that kills them, so don't ask about that either. Just go and act spooked when they say they saw something, and then go home in the morning. Moving on. All right, this is a werewolf. You'll notice immediately, I hope, that it looks like a Brussels Griffon. Wait. Elroy, is that the cover of Something's Gotta Give? Yes, it is. It's Jack Nicholson holding the werewolf. Yes, it... What? Oh, right. Right, that's as good as it gets. Why do I always confuse those? Okay, well, my point is you're making me look like an asshole up here, Elroy. Okay, back to werewolves, I guess, and please forgive my deeply unprofessional assistant. Werewolves transform into toy breeds of dogs. Your pugs, your min pins, your chihuahuas, your Cavalier King Charles Spaniels, your Pekingese, your Pomeranians, your Maltese, your Papillon, your Affin Pinchers, your Havanese, your Japanese Chins, your Italian Greyhounds, your Yorkshire Terriers, your Toy Poodles, your Silky Terriers, your Shih Tzus, your Toy Fox Terriers, your English Toy Spaniels, your Toy Manchester Terriers, and obviously your Brussels Griffon. Weirdly, they're never a Chinese Crested Terrier. And it's also important to note, because I've had this misunderstanding in the past, that not every single instance of these dogs is a werewolf. Just the purebreds. Werewolves have to be purebred, and I don't know why, but it's the reason that shelter pugs are so ugly. They're like a quarter human. Werewolf duty is primarily stationed in Los Angeles, and mostly you just see if any werewolf owners die in mysterious circumstances. Werewolves are lazy and mostly cowards, but sometimes they get a little weird insecurity complex and decide to go into human mode in the dead of night and act like they broke in so they can chase themselves off with shrill barks. Sometimes their owners catch them doing this, and that's the only scenario we've ever seen that results in death by werewolf. Your only job is to rehome the werewolf. Never, ever kill a werewolf. They have a pretty wealthy lobbying agency and a lot of attorneys on retainer, and we can't destroy them anymore like we used to. All right. Trolls just live in the walls of small venues and heckle performers using expert ventriloquism. Gremlins are almost extinct. They used to live in machines and cause insignificant problems, but nowadays all our technology is tiny, so they had to be relocated to government properties where we still use 30-year-old equipment. Now they basically spend all day getting drunk and jamming dot matrix printers on military bases. Unicorns are real, and they're scary as fuck. That's the end on unicorns. Do I need to say more? It's a horse with a sword on its head. Do you know what horses didn't need? A fucking sword on their head. Ghouls are almost exclusively politicians. They're reanimated corpses with outmoded ideas and are literally incapable of change. We petitioned to start exterminating them around 1989 when they were becoming endemic, but the CIA thinks they're useful or funny or something. Oh, and the CIA is entirely run by leprechauns and fairies. We don't know anything about them. Don't fuck with them, though. They're our bosses. Also, we aren't allowed to eat Lucky Charms on DPS property. All right, so our primary openings are on werewolf and ghost hunting duties. Ghost hunters, you're going to have to get a vaccination to keep from coming back as a ghost hunter hunting ghost. It's just a B12 shot, but it seems to do the trick. Recently, there's been a tech boom and therefore a wealthy socialite boom in Seattle, so we need to send bodies to fill in our werewolf offices. We'll get you a prescription for Zoloft before we send you out there. All right, do we have any questions? Yes, Elroy, I know they're gagged. I realized it right after I said it. It was a brain fart, okay? Just start packing up. I'll go tell the hotel staff that we'll be out in 15. No, the fairies said they'll carry the recruits out. Don't untie anyone. Remember when I untied you after your orientation and you bit my hip? Then you ran naked through that Holiday Inn. I had to tackle you on the pastry table. Now, if you want to get bit by a new government employee, that's none of my business. But not while you're on the clock, right? Right? All right. Give them the knockout gas. I'm going to the front desk.